Bum, 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 power of love is a curious thing. Ooh, make a one man weep, make another man sing. Change the hawk to a little white dove. More than a feeling, that's the power of love. Do 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 do. Tough for the diamonds, rich like cream, stronger and harder than a bad girl's dream. Ooh, make a bad one good and make a wrong right. Power of love will keep you home at night. But it don't take money, don't take fame, don't need no credit card to ride his train. It's tougher than diamonds and stronger than steel. You won't feel nothing till you feel the power. You feel the power of love. That's the power. That's the power of love. You feel the power of love. Do, do. Feel the power of love. Do, do. You feel the power of love. All right, guys, so 5150 here with some Huey Lewis and the news. Back to the Future was the movie. Power of Love and Back in Time were the songs that were on the soundtrack for Back to the Future. Now, look here. This is an old movie, so a lot of younger stackers probably won't know anything about it. If you watch it retroactively. And I hope you did, because I'm telling you, it's a Spielberg production. And this was back in the day, man, when they used to really, really pour it on, made you think. You could watch the movie 2 or 3 times, miss something every time. Kind of like the Avengers now, but a little higher brow than that. Because Avengers were pretty basic, those superhero movies, and it was mostly action and stuff. This one right here, it tied timelines and action and, riddles and stuff and everything you had to make you think. All right? So before I start with these coins here, I want to ask you guys to go ahead and please click the like button. All right? Share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Right, because we got some really nice giveaways coming up through these next milestones, and it really helps if you're subscribed. Okay, I don't want you to miss out on these upcoming giveaways. All right, Mad Stacker? Upcoming giveaways? Got a giveaway, right? So yeah, give me some information, man, and I'll get you your booty. We'll get you your booty as soon as possible. All right, man, I'm gonna tell you, these coins right here, I was looking at them on AppMex, and they probably had them somewhere else and stuff. But I was in a hurry, and you know how rash I am. I am not about saving that much money. I mean, I should be, because honestly, I've changed some things recently where saving money is going to be really important. But because I'm a panic buyer, I kind of see something and I jump on it. And so far, I haven't paid the consequences. That's why I was telling you guys, as crazy as I am, so far, it hasn't actually, did me in. I'll go into that some more later. All right, so what do we have here? We have the 2020 1-ounce Niue silver Back to the Future 35th anniversary coins. That's the 35 right there, and it makes me think of the movie Cars. You're thinking like, oh, that's one of the cars from the movie Cars, and what's his name? Flash Lightning or Lightning McQueen or something like that. It makes me think of like Lightning McQueen. I don't know why they have the hatchback up on this. It's the door. It's the door. I'm sorry. I was like, it's very annoying because it kind of ruins the lines of the car. And if you guys don't know about John DeLorean, who used to work for Chrysler back in the 70s, he was like the main designer there. He was like a big shot there at Chrysler, and he ended up going out on his own. He decided, I can make a supercar with a V6 engine that would, just beat the pants off of everything and be affordable. Well, I don't know how affordable it was, but it didn't have a lot of power. It was a dog. It looked really cool. And it sold okay, I think, but then they went out of business like really I think there were drugs involved. That's right. I think DeLorean, I think he took some drug money or something like that. It was a big cocaine era, man. It was 1980s, big 80s, spoon up your nose, Billy Joel. And so, I think they ran into drug money problems and ended up getting, taken out by the regulators and stuff. But that company didn't last very long. As a result, there weren't very many DeLoreans produced. And so these are highly collectible. If you can find a DeLorean in original condition, oh my gosh, you've got a 401k right there. And look, it's not precious metal, but it's metal. And it's fancy collectible metal, a DeLorean, if you can get your hands on one. So, these are from, of course, New Zealand Mint, and I want to thank Aussie Coin Girl for educating me on that. I was like, what? No, there must be the Perth Mint. No, it's the New Zealand Mint. They are the ones that mint all these coins for the island of Niue. I hope I'm saying that right. Anyway, so look here. This coin is special to me because the movie that it's tied to is special to me. I decided I'm going to talk about myself today because, as Paul the Apostle says, even a fool knows about himself and can talk about himself. No, I wasn't that lazy about it today. We're going to get into some stuff, but I'm going to use my teenage years as the backdrop. Going to go ahead and let me be self-indulgent and be selfish with this. But let's get in close to these while I kind of chit-chat a little bit. Why do you have to be crooked? You know how I feel about that. Okay, that's a much better view. Okay, so Back to the Future was the first movie I actually paid for out of pocket. This is when I was working at Sears, and I saw that movie on opening day. Now, Back to the Future came out, I think, in 1985, okay? But before that, when you had, like, Close Encounters of the First Kind, E.T., Star Wars, none of those movies I was able to see because we were just too poor. We never saw any of those movies in the theaters. I didn't see those movies until later. Now, there was one movie, Blade Runner, that came out with Harrison Ford, the original Blade Runner, that my uncle took me to, and I saw that on opening day. Blew my mind. But at that point, I was hooked on the movies, and I decided that, when I had the money, I was going to start going. So, yeah, at that time, I kind of preferred making money over going to school, which almost cost me really badly. And some of the money I was making was legitimate. Like I said, working at Sears, some of the money was not legitimate. We won't get into that. But, what can I say? I was a bad kid. So, what Back to the Future taught me, this movie here, even though it's kind of, it's like an odd, quirky movie now. It wouldn't be that impressive now. But you'd watch the three of them and you'd go like, okay, full circle, I can get it. It's kind of like, the Avengers trilogy or something like that. But the thing that Back to the Future taught me, and I didn't realize it at the time, was the joy of stealing value. Guys, if you remember the character Marty McFly, for those of you old enough to remember, Marty McFly was the main character, okay? And just think of the stuff he had to go through in this movie if you followed the plot of the movie. He had to, just to change his future, he had to steal plutonium from terrorists to help his whacked out but brilliant scientist friend build a time machine, which he ended up using sloppily anyway to correct the untimely death of his friend, the scientist. I don't even remember his name. I can't remember his name, but it's played by the guy from Taxi. Anyway, so Marty McFly has to save his friend who was killed by the terrorists by going back in time, all right? And, it wasn't like Marty's life wasn't already a little jacked, okay? Marty McFly's life was a little jacked. It had a lot of imperfections, the typical kind of trashy, American, deal. But, I mean, it was nothing too tragic and stuff. He's getting by. But the thing is, even with all of the imperfections in Marty's life, all he really wanted was a truck. People don't realize that. The whole thing was about him wanting a truck. He's like, why can't I have... It was a black... I think it was a black 1986 Toyota 4Runner that was sitting on the back of a tow truck being delivered. He saw that truck and lost his mind. I've had that feeling before. All right? So, yeah, so if you don't remember that, that's what it was he wanted. He just wanted a truck. Now, just for the record, a new car was not easy to get back then. Okay? Your credit had to be pretty damn good to get financing for something like that. Almost like a house. And they'd still charge you for interest to the hilt. I mean, they'd really get you. 9, 10, 12%. And while there's no conventional way for Marty to get a truck as a teenager, he would steal value and completely change his future by taking a huge risk, traveling back in time, ungangly. He didn't know what he was doing, to save his friend. He took that risk to save his friend. He had no idea what was going to happen to him. But because of his selflessness and his success, he was able to return to a much improved version of his life, and a brand new black Toyota pickup that he always wanted. Okay, so back to stealing value. Yes, by coincidence, I also have a big black Toyota truck because I wanted room and reliability. That's just coincidence. And after watching oil plunge to $37.63 on April the 20th this year, and it was actually below zero. So actually, oil plunged below zero to negative $37.63 on 4/20. I decided that I wasn't going to be too concerned about the price of gas anymore, so I was going to enjoy my Toyota, in which I don't spend a lot of money on gas anyway, but, Anyway, does that sound familiar, by the way? April 20th of this year? Do you guys remember? That was the day that Chris Dwayne from Greatest Truth Never Told, and he's back, by the way. If you haven't seen him, he's back on Greatest Truth Never Told, and he put out a fire and brimstone video. I think it was a live video. It's probably like an hour long, and that was on Saturday. If you haven't caught that, you need to catch that because he preached the silver gospel, man. I mean, he's a little angry and stuff, but I dig him, and he's one of the guys that got me started in this, even though he yelled at me for buying RCM bars, which I've sold most of by now. Anyway, another story. All right. So, yeah, he told us back there in 420 that was the day that we were supposed to all buy silver and crash the physical silver market. You remember that? Okay. So anyway, that's April 20th, which is not, weed smoking day, dude. I know a lot of guys are like, well, that's like the day that, smoking weed's liberated and stuff. And you know what? Smoking weed's liberated anyway, especially if you're in some states in the United States and, abroad. Anyway, not important. Let's get back to the topic. Anyway, by the time I saw the movie, I realized that if you're willing to take huge risk, there could be huge reward or failure, but there would be value regardless if you were to come out intact on the other side. So that's the thing. It's like, even if you take a huge risk and you fall flat on your face, you actually stand to gain a lot educationally speaking if you live through it. If you're Wile E. Coyote and you're falling off of cliffs and stuff and Acme rockets are blowing up in your face, yeah, you'll get the education, but it's probably going to kill you. All right. But, if you take a huge risk on something, less extreme, the chances are you're going to actually come out on top, whether you get what you want or not. All right. So in my case, there I was, mid-80s. I was dropping out of high school. My parents, they had passed on. All right. I'm on my own. And I thought, I don't want to continue this. I can see this is going nowhere. So what is the biggest risk I could take to change my future? The military. I mean, honestly, when you thought about the military back when I was young like that, all you'd heard about is people who had died in war. In Vietnam, Vietnam was probably 10 or 12 years, back from the time it ended. And, you'd heard about the horror stories and you've seen the movie Hamburger Hill had come out and I think a couple other war movies had come out and all that stuff. And so you're thinking like, oh man, you're going to go in the military? Wow, you're going to die, son. But anyway, despite that, initial fear, I decided to sign up. And I did. I signed up with the military. And if you've ever attempted to do a life change like that without family support, let me tell you something. It's very scary. I saw people with the recruiters that were with their parents, and their parents were like these hardline negotiators. No, my daughter's not going to do that. My son's not going to do that. I was like, wow, they got people advocating for them. Pretty awesome. I didn't have that. Anyway, so yeah, it's very scary if you go by yourself. But the good part is because you don't have that backup, there is simply no fail. Okay, I'm telling you, when you sign up for something like that and you want to change your life through that conduit, there is no fail. Or as Florida Stacker would say, failure is not an option. I'm just I'm messing with you, man. I know you're military too, so I like to put that out there. But I'm sure you've said it at some point. Most of us military guys have said that, depending on what the mission is. Anyway, so if I wanted a prize on the other side, I would actually have to steal the value from it for later use, meaning the military. Though you could argue with the military, the value is actually earned. That's just how the military is. You don't really get to cut very many corners, and you get your butt handed to you, in a lot of these, situations. But you come out stronger for it, and you come out realizing you were actually part of a team and not an individual getting your butt handed to you. All right. So anyway, after the military, I was hungry for more. I realized all the things I gained from military, being punctual, being, neat and clean and ready and, readiness, 100% readiness. That was always a thing. Always be ready for, something that could come up that you weren't planning on. That means, just keep your house in order, right? But after that, I saw the value of that and I was hungry for more. So after I left the military, I got another government job and I began hoarding cash. And realized, even though the cash, began to pile up a little bit, the value was limited. All right. The value was limited. I mean, savings is savings and savings is good because savings, nothing's more liquid than dollars right now. I don't believe. And if you have quite a bit of savings, you have quite a bit of power. If you have a lot of savings, you can change things or tell people to take a hike or whatever, but you actually have a lot of control over what happens to you if you have a lot of cash. So anyway, after hoarding cash and realizing, that was a great way to go, it was working, but it was limited. I tried playing the stock market and got killed. I told Fred Garr about this. I started playing the stock market in probably in 2005. And then in 2008, man, thought everything was fine, nothing could go wrong, and got killed in 2008. Didn't turn around and got smacked down in 2011. Wasn't paying attention. So negative value there. There was no value to steal there because that's a game that's for the big boys. That's a game for the powers that be, their friends, their, insider trading and their high-speed algorithm computers, not for regular people like us. Now, if you're in a hedge fund or if you have a retirement account, you've got people that are handling your stuff, then you're probably seeing some pretty good growth because they right now are on board with what the governments are doing. So just stick with them because honestly, you're not going to be able to do better as an individual. I tried trading against the market, lost my shirt. Absolutely horrible. All right. But anyway, so, after, going through that, I started looking for more answers, and then I stumbled onto precious metals in 2011, while I was still licking the wounds from the stock market. But I decided to study a little bit. So after understanding the potential value of precious metals, I started plunging into them headlong in 2013. And boy, that created some waves. It did. Because, basically you're taking your savings and you're transforming it at a breakneck pace into precious metals because you can see the value. There's no doubt about it. All right? You can see the value, the potential value. You're sitting there going, holy cow, how has nobody noticed this already? You've got these assets that have been sitting there laying dormant, and their sole job was to act as money or store of value, a real store of value. Let me back up a little bit, because Silver Game of Thrones said something yesterday that just, man, I want to go ahead and give this quote today, and I'm going to have to paraphrase this because I don't have it off the top of my head. He said that, you see this? This is the dollar. This is not a store of wealth, all right? There's no difference between the actual production value of this $1 bill or this $100 bill, right? This dollar is not a store of wealth. It's going to lose value over time, all right? This here, silver, this is a store of wealth, all right? Not dollars. And man, he said it so much more succinct than that. But anyway, it had a lot of impact on me because it's true. It's true. I mean, we don't have, the legal, praise behind precious metals to use them as money openly. I mean, in some states in the United States, you can do that. But I think you're going to get like the face value ripoff or what have you, or they're going to give you like some downgraded value or something like that. I don't know. But in any case, yeah, the real store of wealth is in precious metals. Now, you can argue that silver has been more of a speculation because it just hasn't been performing and hasn't been doing a lot of things like the other precious metals have. But I can tell you that it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. And so we're going to take this time that we're going to try to put some more away, right? Let them go ahead and play their games. All right? So let me get back on track here. Once you realize the potential value of precious metals, that feeling you get. That feeling you are so enamored with the abundance that precious metals represent that you start preaching it to everyone. And I mean, you're going like, dude, have you heard about silver? You walk around with a t-shirt that says, ask me about silver. Got a big old silver eagle on the front of it. That used to be, a silver money dude on YouTube. Ask me about silver. He'd run around the ghetto and stuff and people like, well, tell me about silver. And he'd tell them about silver. Anyway, so you start preaching this stuff to everyone. And while most of the people will look at you like a Labrador retriever trying to answer questions on Jeopardy, one or two people will start to catch on and chat with you and begin to see it too. All right? So, since I, got bit by the silver bug, the bite, there's been no looking back. I met up with the broker who I talk about a lot and who I'm very fond of, and I convinced him actually to go ahead and get into silver and gold, but then let's dabble in a little palladium, I said, right? Just a little bit. And then he went a little further. He took it further and says, you know what? Let's try some rhodium. So we tried these other metals and stuff, and while we were getting into them at a very small level, because, I mean, they're not cheap. Even back when we first got into them, they weren't considered cheap because their price points were somewhere. I think palladium was like half of what gold was, and then rhodium was right there where gold was in terms of spot price. All right, but we were, reading historical precious metals charts and watching inflation indicators like a hawk, to make sure we weren't, misstepping and stuff, and we should probably just stay into gold and silver. But anyway, in my earlier videos, I chronicle how I called out these recent tops on both of those metals and flipped those metals into silver. Not a whole lot, but I mean quite a bit considering, some of the stacks out there. And considering I'm just a trades and labor guy, just took a lot of my hard work, money and savings, extra jobs, all that stuff I told you guys. Later I started rolling over credit. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I got quite a bit of silver from the value that I stole from those other precious metals by riding them close to the top. Value stolen from other noble precious metals into silver. Okay, so that was another way of stealing value. All right, and I've got more value in the silver that I've gotten from it. So after experiencing those 3 and 4% 100 gains in those metals, and now watching gold just steamroll over the efforts to keep it down and away from fair value, they're doing that today. I, like you, we're both waiting for silver to achieve its fair value. All right, we want that. We can only speculate about it at this point, given that the powers that be insist on keeping its spot price 66% below its all-time high. Now, stop. In 1980, silver had gotten up to, I think it was $50.50 during the Hunt Brothers story. All right, and now we're at $18, so that's, maybe 65% or 64%. But we're there, and there's nothing else in the history of mankind that is priced that low against real-world inflation, okay? So as such, silver represents the greatest stealable value up for grabs ever against anything. And this is why I seem so cavalier sometimes about my acquisitions. I'll do these premium giveaways, like I did one today, and it's the first time and stuff, but I enjoyed it. I have no regrets about it. I'm going to do it again, all right? I try to do cool exchanges with some of my fellow content producers out there, all right? And I just trade with them for right now. I just trade with the guys that are on the YouTube channels, and they're trying to do stuff, and later on I'll probably get into something, more broad. But I also, recently sold a huge chunk of my stack, all right, that I had allocated as savings, by the way, all right, and I sold it at a loss, okay, at a bit of a loss, but I used it to change things in my life instantly. Got rid of a buttload of debt that I used. And see, that's what I did. I made a mistake of thinking that I could call when the silver market was going to break, and so I front ran the silver market with a bunch of credit, thinking I was going to do a quick flip, pay off the debt and then keep 2/3 or even 3/4 of the silver that I used, that I bought on credit. But it didn't materialize, and I got tired of carrying the credit, so I dissolved a lot of that position, and I used the remainder of it after I paid off the debt to change my life dramatically and instantly. I'll let you guys in on that later on. All right, so for those that don't think silver is very liquid, I'm here to tell you, even in its weakest form, which is right now, silver is extremely liquid. It is. The only thing is, and I told you guys in my early videos, when I went through that process, I called Money Metals Exchange on that Monday morning, and by Tuesday night, the money was in my bank. Now, not as fast as a bank in cash, but pretty darn fast. Okay? All right. So, the thing is, I realized early on, guys, that by the time I got to 300 ounces, I had already stolen so much future value that I could actually relax. I'm not joking. If you have 300 ounces of silver, if you have 200 ounces of silver, and you want to use that for retirement, you could just sit on your laurels and do other stuff. You could. Honestly, they're stealing the future value, man. These price manipulations that they're doing right now, it just makes it easy and easier for us to, buy more. But at 200 ounces, you could literally be like, okay, I'm good. I wouldn't recommend having two 100-ounce bars, because that's going to be, a little awkward to try to dissolve unless you're going to sell to a depository like I do for cash or whatever the new currency is, Fed coin, what have you. But the thing is, 200 ounces to your name, good Lord, that puts you in a category. You'll see. You'll be amazed. But 300 ounces, like I was saying, by the time I got there, I had realized I'd already stolen so much future value that I really didn't have to do any more. But come on, like I said, these big banks putting on these price manipulations, they make it so easy that I refuse to stop. I'm going to continue stacking. I did sell some, but I'm buying some other pieces and stuff. All right, but I'm doing other things too. I'm not stacking as hard as I was, but I just drew back some of the debt, and I got into more of the things that I need to improve my quality of life. But anyway, what I'm saying is, if you're stacking as aggressively as you're able to do, right, while properly managing everything else, you can't let other things go to the wayside, like I kind of did a couple times, but, I caught back up with it. But if you are stacking aggressively as you are reasonably able, while properly managing everything else, you're racing a top fuel dragster down the strip against tricycles. You're racing like a dragster down the drag strip against tricycles, or those people who insist on hanging to too many dollars right now. And dollars are good too right now, because 21 of them will buy you an ounce of minted bullion grade silver, right? Each being a tiny little bank waiting to explode with purchasing power once fair value can no longer be contained. And that's coming. I mean, guys, whew, man, you look at the indicators out there. Did you see how much the market was gyrating today? And by the way, they pulled their old stunt. Now, you got to get ready for this. All right, so today and tomorrow, expect huge gains in the stock market for no reason. Boeing, honestly, so the stock market goes up 2%. I mean, the entire stock market across the globe goes up 2% because Boeing had good earnings or something. I don't know. They had like a spending bill or something. I don't know. But it's just one company is going to lift the entire global stock market. Bunch of bunk, bunch of hooey. Right? So expect that today and tomorrow. They're going to come out with some bogus stories talking about why, the stock market's up another 500 to 700 points tomorrow, right? Because on Wednesday, guess what? It is the news cycle. It is where they have to start reporting all of the damage done in the first part of the year. The first half of the year, all that stuff's going to come home to roost starting Wednesday. Now, they might be able to ward it off some Wednesday, but come Thursday and the holidays on Friday, and I think that if the holidays on Friday, then we're going to have half a day on Thursday. Let's see how much damage is done to equities or the stocks and stock market, and how much gains are put on them by gold and silver on Thursday. And if the same thing that's happening today and tomorrow happens then, that means that they got together and they rallied trillions of dollars to make sure they can manipulate the markets just to get through the holiday weekend. But then come back on the 7th, and I'm sorry, I think all hell's going to break loose, because the earnings are going to come out. They're going to have unemployment numbers. They're going to have employment data. They're going to have, price to earnings ratios on some of these companies. They're going to talk about, jobless claims, and all that stuff is going to be coming. It's going to be for the second quarter of the year, which will include the first quarter. Believe me, it's going to be for the first half of the year. All right, so I refuse to stop stacking because, honestly, it's just so cheap, and you get so much cool stuff. Now, I'm going to be honest, I paid $29. I paid $29 for these when I saw them, but I looked quickly and I noticed they're 10,000 minted, okay? And it's my favorite movie from my childhood, the favoriteest movie ever, because I didn't see E.T. and Star Wars and all that. So I had to get them. I was going to get them regardless. So I got myself, 25 of these. And I got the broker too. Broker, if you're out there, I've got 2 extras if you want them. If you don't, I will keep them. But I paid $29 for them. And if you look on AppMex right now, who's always priced too damn high, they have them for about $38. So there has been some gain there in the collectability of them. I don't plan on doing anything with them for a long time because these are ones I really like. But it's just one of those quick grabs where I knew I would steal value even at a glance. So that's the thing. I've been doing this long enough, and I've been doing this aggressively enough that I can just glance at stuff now and tell, oh yeah, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be good. Now I did have a subscriber call me out on some copper rounds that I did a copper show on once, saying that they're probably $9 to $10 or $12 and stuff. But he went and he found them somewhere on eBay that had them for like $2 or $3. So that was a falsehood. I apologize for that. But if you paid 99 cents for them and they're $3 plus $3 shipping on eBay, that's still quite a bit of return on investment on copper. So still, copper is not a bad deal. Is my whole point. Copper is a very good investment. We'll get on that some other time. All right. So let's go ahead and wind this up. We've been going for a while, so I've been trying to be more thorough with these shows, and we're going to go ahead and wind down. So that if you're probably managing all your debt and everything else, and you're stacking aggressively as you can, you are indeed driving a dragster down a drag strip against tricycle riders that are holding on to their dollars for dear life. Hold on for dear life. All right, and you can buy your ounce of silver right now, I think, for about $21. But that's the thing, you're stealing, and we don't know what the value of an ounce of silver is going to be. We just don't know, because we don't know when we're going to get into fair value, which will be in dollars that work, and then hyperinflationary value, which will be in dollars that don't work. And that's coming. We're going to see that. I don't want to say this year, but we're going to see that over the next couple of years. And we're going to be scrambling around trying to figure out what's what, all right? So let's watch this next half a year. Let's watch the next half of 2020. I'm going to tell you guys, okay, you know what? I'm going to issue a challenge. If we're still sitting at $18 spot silver come November, guys, I will do a giveaway that will melt down your server just to talk about it. Okay? I'm not joking. If we're still at $18 spot silver come November, I will do a giveaway for the ages. All right? And I'm serious. I'm Silver 5150. I am crazy. I endorse this message, and I don't play. All right? But the thing is, I'm confident that we're well on our way. And soon we'll all be working together trying to steal value in other assets using silver and gold, by extension, the way they were meant, as money. All Marty wanted was a nice truck. All we want is a nice life, filled with unlimited freedom, abundance, and potential. That's not too much to ask, right? Yeah, it's not too much to ask. So keep stacking. Keep stacking. Yes, I'm Silver 5150 telling you that your stack is not whack, and that just 5 ounces to your name keeps you 99% ahead of the game. But guys, the more you stack, oh my gosh, it's just, you just wait. You just wait. Now, we always want more. So go out there, find the deals, get more, okay? And that is my rallying cry for today. So I hope you enjoyed the coins. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you like, share, subscribe, and comment, like always. And click that thumbs up. They say like, but click the thumbs up is what it means, okay? And that does help the channel out a lot. It helps me out a lot and stuff. And I got some great things in store for you guys in the future. So I would like for you to help me get there, and I'd like you to come with me, so we can all have fun together, like we do in the future accounts and the stories and the fictional stories that we do. All right, okay, guys, that's enough chatting for the day. I will catch you guys tomorrow at the morning update. Silver 5150 out.